All right, this was about the YSL Young Thug trial, cross-examination and direct questioning by the prosecutor. I'm going to break down how it is when the prosecution question you on direct is what they call it, to when the defense attorney question you, that's called cross-examination, where you try and get out what they was trying to mislead the witness to say to make their movie script sound more convincing to the jury to try and convict the defendant, Young Thug. Sit back, enjoy the ride, and check out this breakdown. This is a legal breakdown that I know that y'all gonna enjoy. You're gonna take a lot away from it because this is what we do over at the Mecca. All right? All right, Unique Mecca Audio here, man. I'm going to break down the direct examination, is what they call it, of the prosecution and the cross-examination by the defense, Young Thug's lawyer, Brian Steele. I think he's doing an excellent job. Now, check. When Trontavious Stephens, AKA Tic, right? When he first went up there on the stand, he was breaking down, well, he was trying to be misleading. You know, he didn't even want to say that he called Thugger, you know, Thug, Slime, or none of that on direct. He was being real misleading, and by him being misleading and, you know, evading the questions, and, you know, it was a real comical show last week because he was trying to be on man time and didn't really want to be up there, but he really wanted, you know, his plea agreement to get the amount of time they offered him instead of looking at the time that, you know, Thug is looking at. Now, he was speaking on the origins of the gang, you know, and where the name came from. And he was trying to be misleading and all that. And then he went on to talking about how, you know, him and Thugger was, you know, the founders of YSL, and, you know, all this was on direct. And then how it was a music business dealing with positivity, but they caused negativity, you know, to further the gang, you know. And then he also went on to speak on how they sold drugs at certain locations. And then he went on to speak on how he didn't even know how old he was in 6th grade. He went to, you know, pick up a pen to say, let me write that down because I'm not good in math. I never really got my GED. I didn't pass the math part of the GED. It was real comical. I enjoyed it. So then he also went up there. They asked him, you know, what does snitching mean to him? And he said, it don't mean nothing to me. In other words, I'm doing me, you know? And it was real comical. I enjoyed it. And then, you know, when he really pulled out that pencil, that was the life changer for me. That had me cracking up, you know. So now, on cross-examination, Brian Steele, Young Thug's lawyer, he went up there, cross-examined him, and he got him to say a lot of things that the prosecution, you know, wasn't trying to get him to say, that he didn't really want to say. So pay attention. I'm trying to take my time and walk through this so that y'all understand this. Now, he said Thug, you know, wasn't really from Cleveland Avenue, you know what I mean? And that, you know, he grew up somewhere else. The projects got torn down, and then he came there. But he also said that, you know, the YSL started in Cleveland Avenue, and it was from the people that lived there and grew up there. So the cross-examination did a good job of pointing out and had him admit that, you know, they did all this before Thug. Now, it went even further when Tic was committing crimes. He admitted he was committing crimes before he even met Young Thug. Now, that's important. He admitted that he was committing crimes before he met Young Thug. So I'm going to give you all a scenario so y'all can understand the importance of that. All right? And I'm going to ride right now. I'm going to ride right now. Now, during my trial, they brought up a bunch of co-defendants who had shootouts, people got hit by stray bullets, murders, things that happen. And these is my co-defendants. They testified in cross-examination that they didn't even know me. Then my lawyer said, okay, when did you meet Unique? They said, well, I never met Unique. I only dealt with his brother, But mind you, they put on all this direct testimony of them speaking about a 14-year-old girl got shot by a stray bullet. This murder happened, this drug sale happened, they got arrested with this, they got arrested with that. And my lawyer said, okay, when did you meet Unique? He said, oh, after that. So then why are they allowing testimony from that to the jury? They do that so that they could try and get the jury to look at you that you're a bad apple, where there's smoke, there's fire, and they're using their bad deeds, even though they're testifying for the government, so that when the jury hear this, they think that you caught up in all this. But my lawyer pointed out that they had nothing to do with it. I had nothing to do with it. I didn't even know these people. So that's what Thugger's lawyer was pointing out when he had him admit that this happened before he even met him. You understand what I'm saying? Before Tic even met, Slim, So that's what happened with that, just so you could understand. So they use all these bad deeds and bad testimony and everything to try and get everybody over there caught up on the bull crap. So now they done did that. So we already got that out, that Tic was committing crimes before he met Thugger. That's the main thing, right? So that means that he was already a criminal. So it's not like him and Thugger started out at the same time. They was co-founders. They both was doing this together, breaking the law, selling drugs, and then decided to start this YSL music group. So then now, he even got Thugger, he even got Tic to admit that Thugger wanted him to stop selling drugs and committing evil crimes, and that they got together, and that Thugger even invited him to his house. He said when he went to prison that Thugger never came to visit him. So by them saying that, the prosecution is putting to the jury that he wasn't a co-founder, or he wasn't a part of the YSL music group, because Thug never went to prison to visit him, to fill him in on what was happening, or to get any, advice on how to move forward. Now, Tic also said in the cross-examination yesterday, y'all go back and look at it, I'm not even going to play it. I just want to break down the legal aspects of it. He even got Tic to admit that he was selling drugs, he was doing all this, and Tic tried to say that he was doing all this to further, the YSL movement. But he also said that he was doing it on his own. So that means that, and he didn't make no money for it. So it's not like he testified that Thugger gave him money to brandish the guns, to do the shooting, to sell the drugs, and even to run around saying that he was YSL. He clearly stated that Thugger was trying to get him out of it and gave him opportunity in order to move over and come into the music legal business, and that Thugger created jobs for other, people in the community with the YSL music group. Now, that was real powerful, so you understand. Now, it said Thugger offered this man opportunities to, get in the studio, try to turn him into a rapper. He gave him opportunity to carry bags, you know what I mean? But Tic said out his mouth that Tic wanted instant money, that he didn't want to do none of that stuff. He didn't want to do none of that legal stuff. It wasn't paying enough money because he's going to get more money off the street. So this is for the youth to understand. Thugger was pushing a movement of positivity, trying to get into the music. Not saying that he didn't do nothing wrong before to get there or whatever. That's not a part of this conversation. But the moral of this conversation is that Thugger was telling Tic, man, come on, get in the studio, get in the booth, try and rap. Here, you could carry the bags, you know what I mean? Here, you could organize, the bags and the equipment and whatever we need to take when we go on the thing. And Tic was like, man, that ain't no money. I want that instant drug money. So he continued to do what he do. Tic even said that Thug did not want him to sell drugs and tried to get him out of that. You know what I mean? So now Thug gave him opportunity to change his life, is what he said. He said Thug gave him the opportunity to change his life. All this is on cross-examination, right? So then now Thug's lawyer even got Tic to admit that they went their separate ways because he was selling drugs and Thug wanted to do music. That is so powerful. And I know everybody done heard all the direct testimony put on, say Thug is buried. But this helped Thug, because you got to always remember, you're going to hear direct, examination of the witnesses, and then you're going to hear the cross-examination, and that's where Brian Steele come in, and he fill in the blanks of what the prosecution was trying to leave out. Now, Thugger never went to visit this man in jail, but yet he said they was co-founders and they was partners and this and that. So how could he have been a co-founder or a partner if he wasn't a part of decision-making, because he was in jail when Thug was doing his thing? He come out of jail, stopped getting high. He was getting high before he went to jail, so he come out of jail, and Thug tried to give him opportunity, is what he said out his own mouth. We just speaking on what he said, not my opinion, so you understand. Now, so then Thug, he said would even pay his rent so he wouldn't get thrown out. He said Thug would give him money, so you understand. I'm just pointing all this out so you understand. Now, they said that Thug wanted him to stop committing crimes. He said that out his own mouth. So now that's a game changer, because Thug is saying, man, I wasn't into the crime, I got into music and this is what I was doing. And this man is saying, nah, he was in it because we was a part of the YSL movement and we was furthering the movement of the Rico. So you understand. I'm going to break all this down in layman's term in a second, but I just wanted to point out the cross-examination that Thug wanted him to live a life without crime. That's what he said out his mouth. You understand what I'm saying? He wanted him to stop living a life of crime, right? That's Trontavious Stephens, AKA Tic, cross-examination. Now, y'all heard that. So that's a game changer for the jury when they hear it, because as you see, he was trying to keep it 100. And even though he was testifying, he was just trying to get a deal for himself to secure the deal. So what happened is the prosecution asked him, did we talk to you this weekend? And he said, no, we didn't talk to you this weekend. So now we know that they did talk to him, because he come back into court and now he's not being evasive and he's throwing Thug under the bus. Now he's what you call being a rat bastard. You know what I mean? Now he's telling. So now he throws Thug under the bus. But what I want y'all to understand, you youngins and elders out there doing crimes with your friends, whether it's stimulus, drugs, guns, gang banging, whatever it is. When it's time to face the Grim Reaper, I mean the man in the black robe, when it's time to face him, where a man's life and liberty is on the line, that's when you know who your real friends are. And as you see, he's not a real friend. He even said out his own mouth, Trontavious Stephens, that Thug was his brother, that he called him bro. He called him his brother, And Thug showed that he was his brother by trying to get him to stop committing a life of crime, by paying his rent, by giving him money, by offering him opportunity to get down with the YSL music movement and leave the crime alone. But he chose to continue, so they went their separate ways. Now, it's crazy because I sat on the stand and I watched a man that I did everything for him. Gave him cars, helped him get mama get houses, do everything. And then he turned around and tried and testify. We didn't try. He testified and tried to get my mama's house taken from her to put my mama out on the street to save his ass. That's what happened. And I notice a lot of people say there's no honor among thieves, this and that. There is honor among thieves, but there's no honor amongst a rat bastard. That's what you have to understand. No honor amongst a rat bastard. So you can't put a rat bastard in the same category as a man of honor that took an oath to the street. You can't do it. Let's stop it. And that's where y'all getting the two crossed up. When you see a man flip on his co-defendant, when you see a man kill his comrade to get a bag. That's because he's not a man of honor, and he do not honor the code and oath that he took to the street. And then y'all in social media, no disrespect to you, just pointing out the facts. Y'all in social media try and judge a rat bastard, with a man of honor that went to trial. You see Thug sitting there with his arms folded, he's taking it in, and he's, it is what it is. It's hurting him, but now he sees who his friend is. And he's sitting there like, man, I could have killed him so many times and I let him go because I thought he had honor. And now he's sitting here for the prosecution. These are the things that go through your mind when you're looking at a man trying to get you life in jail so he could get less time. That hurts. So that's why I'm telling you, youngins, don't go to the street. Don't get in a life of crime. Stay in school, get your trade, get your business, be an entrepreneur, do whatever you choose to do, but leave the streets alone. If you commit to going to school, put your all behind it. If you commit to running the streets, you put your loyalty and honor and morals and principle behind it. And I'm telling you, don't go to the street. But if you do, that's how it go. I gave 26 years of my life where my youngest daughter was like 18 months. I come home, that was in 1993. I come home in 2020. And now she's 27 years old. I miss all that. Some people said I was a fool because I didn't tell and I chose the streets over my children. I was on the streets before my children was born. So I made my oath to the streets before my children was born. So I can't, now that my children is born, continue to run the streets and then when it's time to face the Grim Reaper and sit in front of the judge with the black robe, then turn on my comrades. Because if that's the case, then I should have got out the game when my child was born. And that's how that is. So y'all that's out there saying I'm hustling because I got my, I got to feed my children, I got to feed this and that. You have to choose which one mean more to you. Your children, your family that you say you out there hustling for, or the streets and the bag that you're getting, which is temporary because you accumulate all that bag and then they got what they call a forfeiture law. They're going to try and take everything from Thugger. They mentioned he had houses in California, houses in Georgia, this, that. They're going to go for even his jewelry. Do you know that? Cause let me ride right now. Do you know that when I sat on the trial, the DEA agent that arrested me in New York came to testify my trial, and she had on my jewelry on the stand while she was testifying against me, and she got a smirk on her face like I won, But I know that it's a bigger game than what she's saying. You didn't win until I'm dead in prison. That's when you win. But while I'm alive in prison, the game is still going on. The fight is still going on. I couldn't read or write when I went in. I had no trades when I went in. I was just good in math, hustling and busting my gun when I went in. But I went in, became a certified electrician, certified mechanic, certified HVAC and refrigeration, certified plumber, certified culinary arts, and I have my serve safe, and I have 3,500 hours of psychological training so I can understand why I honor the code and oath of the streets. And now I know when I'm trying to bring it to you. So I'm trying to save you and your children and loved ones by letting you know that I died and was buried alive in prison. And big shout out to Buried Alive, Brittany Barnett and Corey Jacobs. Give them a round of applause. Give them a round of applause. All right, relax. Let me tell you who they are. They're the ones that did my paperwork to get me out of prison. And for that, I'll forever be indebted to them because that's what loyalty is about. So under all circumstances, I hold them down. And that's loyalty. Whether you're dealing with the law, you're dealing with your family or you're dealing with the street. When someone is there for you, you always be there for them. Now, they said YSL was a gang committing crimes, right? But just committing crimes is not a RICO. Remember that. Just committing crimes is not a RICO. A RICO is saying that you have to have 5 or more people under you, and you control them, and they violated, you know, a felony that carries more than a year and a day. So they have what they call predicates. Predicates is things that happen during the course of the crime, which is also overt acts. Overt acts are a young girl got shot, like I was saying, you know, by a stray bullet on my case. That's an overt act. You understand? They was already serving time in state prison for that crime. I didn't even know them when they committed that crime. They wasn't selling my drugs. They wasn't even dealing with my brother at that time. So you understand. But they put those in as overt acts. That's just so when the jury look at the indictment and say, oh man, a 14-year-old girl got shot. Oh, he's an evil man. I didn't even know these men at the time when this happened, and I never even met these men until it was time to get arraigned in the Virginia courtroom over on Granby Street. You see how this game is played? But here it is. My jury is looking at my indictment with all of these vicious, violent acts that these men committed. And they're looking at it like I'm responsible for it because it's in my indictment. That's overt acts. Now, that's just committing a crime is violating the law. So when YSL, the alleged gang, committed crimes, they broke the law. But that don't mean they broke the RICO. So what they're doing right now, because just being a part of a gang is not a crime in Georgia. Let's get that straight. Being a part of, you know, any gang is not a crime in Georgia. But breaking the law while you're in this gang and trying to further the enhancement of this gang while you're in Georgia, that's RICO. Because they got 5 or more people working for you. That's a RICO. Now, let me give you an example of what 5 or more people working for you. Okay, I had someone count the money for me. You know, they sat there count millions with the money machine. I had someone that, you know, would bottle up the drugs. You know, I had someone that'll take the drugs to the block, and I had somebody that'd drive the drugs out of town, and I had someone would drive the money back from out of town. That's 5 people right there. So that's a continuing criminal enterprise, AKA the kissing cousin of the RICO. You control 5 people. I haven't seen where Young Thug controlled 5 people. So his lawyer now is going to the Supreme Court of Georgia to let it be known that this is not a RICO and this whole case and indictment should be thrown out because they're not showing that he controlled 5 or more people or he violated the elements of RICO. Let me tell you what elements are when I say elements of RICO, because I'm going to take this slow. Elements is the ingredients. What's the element for baking a cake? That's milk, flour, and egg. That's the ingredients. But in the law, that's called elements. So what's the elements of a RICO? 5 or more people, you know, and that you violated a crime that carried over, you know, a felony that carried more than a year and a day, you know, that, you know, you committed crimes to further the enhancement of the gang, you know, and that, you know, you extorted people or whatever you did and blah, blah, blah. And also the last one is that you made substantial income from these criminal activities to further the enhancement of the gang. Nowhere did Tic or anyone else say that what they did put money into YSL. Nowhere, let me say it again, nowhere in this testimony did it say that they put money into the movement and the furtherance of YSL, the so-called gang that Thug is charged with. So that's not a RICO. So Brian Steele is an excellent lawyer. Man, I wish I had him when I got locked up. You know what I mean? And I would even recommend him to whoever get locked up down there in Georgia because he's an animal. Now, So you understand how this go. Brian Steele is cross-examining Tic to get it out. Tic said, and listen to this, Tic said in cross-examination by Brian Steele that him and Thug went their separate ways because Thug didn't want him to sell drugs, and that Thug wasn't selling drugs. But yet, and then he even said that he committed crimes with these guns, you know what I mean? And was using the name YSL, but he never said he was doing that for Thug in cross-examination. What the prosecution did was they went back and they told him, look here, nigga, this is what it is. You up here playing games, you're being invasive, act like you can't read, you can't write, you can't do math, you ain't got your GED, all that real cute, you know, for the TV cameras. But you know you's a rat bastard and you work for us now. We control you. You told us enough that we can put your dumb ass on trial and bury you beyond underneath Thug, and then we're gonna put you in the same prison with Thug so that him and his peoples could get at you. You know, if God, you know, willing, they get him like they want, but God forbid they don't. So once they did that, the man even said that when he was in jail, they might send you 5 hours away, you're away from your family, and it's hard doing time. So he ain't trying to go back to jail. So once they told him that, he now, instead of him coming out looking like old ragamuffin like he did for the, you know, first 2 days, when he come up for cross-examination, then people said, as a matter of fact, you know what I mean, you got to change your clothes. I mean, but I ain't got no clothes. I ain't got no money. You locked me up. I was just busting my gun. I was just doing what I had to do. They said, all right, nigga, here, put on this Calvin Klein shirt. And they give him a white shirt to go out there to try and make him look proper. And say, do something with your head, too. You know what I mean? This is how the government do. So what they did was clean him up because they knew Brian Steele was going to dig in his ass. But what's so sad is that no matter how good you treat certain people, there will always just be a rat bastard. That's what's a shame. This man said Thug offered him opportunity and tried to, you know, get him away from the negativity. He said that Thug paid his rent. Thug gave him money. Thug took him to his house. Whenever he needed Thug, Thug was there. Is that a friend or not? Is that a brother or not? So then why would this rat bastard sit on the stand and sit here and try and bury Thug? For that very reason. He's a rat bastard. And you can't help it. And he definitely got to get the whole clip. Not encouraging nothing, just having fun. This is just for entertainment. So, you know, you flip-flop in public trolls, you know what I mean, that like to defend the rat bastard on social media. You know, I'll give you 3 seconds to tap out. All right, and you already know. Take that with you on the way out. You know what I mean? Because we don't play that at the Mecca. It's a gangster channel for gangsters. And people that want to know about being a gangster, so hopefully they choose not to be a gangster. Because I screwed my life up being a gangster. And now I'm trying to prevent you from doing the same. Make sure you cop the book of Rowan Harlem, man. Fire. It's at rowanharlem.com, and it's also on Amazon. Got 4.5 stars. The book is fire. I didn't see not one negative comment up there, and you know how these rat bastards and flip-flop win and public trolls, they everywhere. They didn't even hit my thing yet. You know, I'm saying that because, you know, I want when they say something so people can eat them up and tell them, nigga, go suck them out. You know what I mean? Because that's where we at. But I just wanted to say that, man, it's hard being on the streets and taking an oath with dudes that don't honor their word. Because if they did, they wouldn't be on the stand like Trontavious Stephens. Remember that. So it's not that there's no honor among thieves. It's no honor amongst rat bastards. Remember that. I'm going to say it again. There's no honor amongst rat bastards. But there's honor amongst thieves that honor their word and live by their morals and principle. And I'm telling you, don't go to the street so you don't have to do that. You don't have to be a part of that. You paying attention to what the words that are coming out of my mouth? All right, well, let me tap out. Been on here long enough, man. All right.
Cheers, cheers, toast the crime, toast the crime, the crime, the crime, the crime.
26. He back on the strip, getting back in the mix. What he mentions a gift. You stand up 10 toes down, and I suggest you pay attention to this. Take a little gully posse and put it in Harlem. He cut from the bottom, came up from the bottom. Drop the book, you should go and get it. The Instagram page and the YouTube, you could go and visit. Then you could consider yourself LinkedIn. Sit front row and get Jews from a kingpin. How he went through it, so you ain't gotta go do it. To not pay attention would be stupid. Talking about a man that probably put your grandfather on. Probably the reason that him and your grams got along. A man that generated millions on the block, did his time, never squilling to the cops, Mecca audio. Get it live like 2 G's in the 90s. Drop top beamer so shiny. I let shorty go, she was wine. Treat her like my past, she behind. Spend a couple bands on the Dapper Dan. You be back again, getting green like a Packers fan. No cap, it's a raw in Uptown. They be horn Uptown, Dominican bust downs. Now we on the positive, we got a lot to give. Now he trying to stop the kids from being inoperative. So take heed, homie, lend an ear. He started in Uptown, he gon' finish there. But now it ain't about selling drugs, buying cars. It's about buying property to make the community ours. So we can give back to the youth them. Cause they the truth them. And bless up to all the road men.